Well, another episode of Superman and Lois flew in to TV. This, I believe, the 10th episode, called "Oh Mother, Where Art Thou?" Yeah, well, why was it called that? Well, because we meet Superman's real mommy. Yes, at the end of the previous episode, we had another shocking twist where Morgan Edge claimed to be Superman's brother. Now, at the time, I thought, well, maybe he just means a fellow Kryptonian or something like that, or possibly he was the consciousness of the evil Superman from the alternate Earth that we saw earlier. But no, at least so far. Apparently, no, he is actually Superman's long-lost brother that he never knew about because his mommy had a previous marriage before she married Jor-El. Yeah. I'm not all that crazy about that. So they give him his whole backstory. He comes to Earth before Superman did. But he lands somewhere in Britain and gets horribly abused and chased because they saw him as an alien freak, and they shoot at him and all this stuff. He ends up frying them all with his heat vision and all that sort of stuff. So after a pretty good run, this is, to me, for me anyway, is a big stumble here. The good news is there's still no real woke shit in here, unless you want to say, no, look, they're Superman and his mommy or whatever. Nah, not really. That, yeah, this is stupid. But again, you know, they do throw curves here, so yeah. But he does the idea coming out of it was obviously that the X-kryptonite is these crystals that can contain basically just a digital recording of Kryptonian consciousness. And due to the exposure that the Smallville people have to this over the years of it being buried in the ground, they're susceptible to it to transfer the consciousness to them. This is apparently something that Lara had developed, and it was seen as this alternative to save Krypton from its ultimate destruction. But apparently she didn't want to use it as a means by taking over the Earth and all that sort of thing. But I mean, I suppose the idea was that it was just the means by which to store the consciousness so that you could have all that knowledge, which is pretty simple, similar to what Superman has in his Fortress of Solitude, which is, you know, Jor-El, an AI version of him is there. It's not really Jor-El, he's dead. But, you know, and the same thing here with, Lara. And so Lara comes forward. They figure out a way. They find the guy who was operating the MRI machine that was, delivering the consciousness. And the only way to reverse the process was Lara would be the only one who know how to do it. And so Lana volunteers to do this in order, the hopes that she could save her husband, because surprise, he's revealed to them to, be who he is. Taken over by a Kryptonian personality. And so they do all this. She volunteers to be the guinea pig for this, to be the host of Lara's consciousness. And then they come up with the idea that, they need the power of a star in order to fuel it. So Superman decides he'll let loose his Nova Blast, which is something they did in the comics a couple of years back. I mean, he can do this super duper blast of Nova power. The only drawback is that it takes all of his powers away. Then it'll take him a week or so to come back to being super again. He's got to recharge his batteries and all that. But it was a risk he was willing to take because he's Superman. And so there's this big thing. Edge is trying to draw him out, and he calls all his army of Kryptonian, humans, but turned into Kryptonians. And it's kind of a lackluster CGI thing where they're chasing Superman. But, that's all right. It's just this business of them being brothers and stuff. I don't like that. But anyway, Of course, it works. Superman's able to do this and wipes out all the other Kryptonians except for Morgan Edge, who is just himself. He's apparently not a conscious. Morgan Edge is not his real name. I'm forgetting the name they gave him, his Kryptonian name, and his gal pal. And that's it. They're the only ones left. And at the end, he says, yes, but all is not lost. And he stomps off like he's got some other contingency plan, and which I assume he does. Superman crashes somewhere near the Fortress of Solitude, and he's crawling through the ice to get back to it, and he passes out. Oh no, will he survive? I don't know. But Sarah is reunited with her father, and it's all happy and everything. And Lois and the kids, the boys, are wondering, well, where's Dad? And so that's where they leave it. And so certain elements of it are fine. It would have worked out okay, but yeah, I don't like the and the consciousness thing. I liked my theory better, obviously, that they were in the Phantom Zone and they're controlled from beyond. I mean, it's a bit much to just because you're able to upload Kryptonian data of a Kryptonian's brain into a human's brain, where the Kryptonian becomes the dominant mind in there, but that wouldn't give them superpowers, so they need a little more than that. So I mean, not that them willing themselves from the Phantom Zone onto him either, but I suppose it could have been more along the lines of existing in the same place at once but vibrating on different scales, that kind of thing, because the Phantom Zone's another dimension, and that might have made a way for the the criminals of Krypton to control some humans in Smallville and all that. And you can still have the ex-Kryptonite means, by which is like sort of the lens that is able to communicate this to them and that sort of thing. All of that would fit, but Superman's long lost brother. And then this creates the whole other thing. Lara had this other family, and just, I mean, look, it's all very brief. It's like, did she abandon her son? Because, well, Kal-El's my favorite. I don't know. So I think this is a stumbling block. It could be a pretty big one for the show. But it's not some woke crap or something like that. It's just kind of a dumb idea, I think. It's too bad. But, boy, I tell you, 9 episodes is pretty good for a CW show. But, again, it's like with a lot of things. And this one, I give more of a chance because they've done so well. Unlike something like Loki, which everyone says, it's only 1 episode, give it a chance. Yeah, but I've seen the other Marvel shows and I know where they're going. And of course, yeah, this is a CW show, so I mean, how can it get this far? That's the real question. So maybe there'll be some other explanation for all of this. Preferably that he's actually from an alternate universe where this did happen, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of Superman's long lost brother. They did a story like that in Superman comics a long time ago, where Superman suspected Mon-El was his brother, but then later learned this was not the case, and that sort of thing. But this is something entirely different for the purposes of the show, which of course the whole setup is as well. I mean, comic books did finally have Superman and Lois get married. They have a son, and that was actually pretty cool, but only one son, until Bendis came along and ruined it all. But so this, the CW show is it's very much its own thing in a lot of ways, certainly with the existence of the 2 boys. So but I was willing to accept that premise. But look, we'll see where this goes. I don't. Am I wrong? Was there ever a story in the comics where Morgan Edge was revealed to be a Kryptonian or anything? It reminds me a lot of that abandoned script that J.J. Abrams wrote for a Superman movie way back when called Flyby, where it sounds like he wanted to make it more like Star Wars or something, and Krypton had not been destroyed just yet, and Lex Luthor was to be revealed to be a Kryptonian, so that's very similar to it, but it was all about there was going to be an invasion from the Kryptonians and all that stuff. which I guess ended up being the plot of the Man of Steel movie, but very differently. You know, it was more closer to the actual story of Superman, and we don't have Lex Luthor from Krypton. But here we have Morgan Edge from Krypton. So, but, you know, I don't like it, but it's still worthy of giving a chance to perhaps flesh this out. So we'll see where it goes. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.